What if I told you there's a massive financial opportunity just sitting there, hidden in the everyday work of your tech teams? Yeah, I'm talking about the problem solving, the system improvements, all that innovation that happens every single day. The thing is, most companies don't even realize they're sitting on it. Today, we're going to dig in and unlock R&D tax credits.
All right, so here's the game plan. We're going to start with the millions, and I do mean millions, being left on the table every year. Then we'll get into what actually counts as R&D. And trust me, it's not what you think. We'll walk through the old, painful way of claiming these credits, and then we'll show you how AI is completely changing the game. And finally, we'll look at the incredible payoff. So let's jump right in. Governments have basically created this amazing incentive to fuel innovation. But here's the problem. Most companies, and yeah, maybe even yours, aren't cashing in on it like they could be. And this is really the key question for any finance or tech leader out there. Is your company part of this group that's missing out? And, well, spoiler alert, the answer is almost certainly yes. And look, we're not talking about some small oversight here. This is a significant amount of capital that could be pumped right back into your business. The scale of this unclaimed money is just staggering, and it's mostly because of some really common and, as you'll see, very fixable issues. So why is this happening all the time? Well, it all starts with your engineers. They're focused on building cool stuff, right? Not on documenting every little detail for the tax team. That right there creates a huge lack of proof. So by the time anyone tries to file a claim, months have gone by, memories are fuzzy, and the whole thing turns into this slow, expensive manual dig through thousands of projects. Honestly, it's a system that's almost designed to fail. Okay, so a huge piece of the puzzle here comes down to a fundamental misunderstanding. When we hear R&D, we get this picture in our heads of scientists in lab coats. But the reality, especially in the world of tech, is totally different. This is the big disconnect right here. The myth is that R&D has to be some flashy, world-changing breakthrough, but the reality? It's the everyday problem-solving your team is already doing. Optimizing a database to make it faster? Yep, that can count. Building out new security protocols? That counts too. Trying to modernize a clunky old legacy system without the whole thing catching on fire? That is absolutely R&D. The term that really unlocks all of this is something called technological uncertainty. It's actually pretty simple. If your team hits a wall and the solution isn't obvious or something you can just Google, they're probably doing R&D. It's all about that process of trying things out, experimenting, just to find a path forward. And this is where it really starts to click for people. Just look at these examples. Designing scalable microservices, developing new algorithms, building a custom testing framework, even creating a special CI/CD pipeline. Does any of this sound familiar? I bet it does. These are exactly the kinds of things your teams are probably working on right now that qualify. Okay, so you figured out your company is doing R&D. Awesome. But how do you actually turn that hard work into cold hard cash? Let's walk through that journey. At its core, an R&D tax credit is a really powerful government incentive. It directly cuts down your corporate tax bill. And hey, if your company isn't profitable yet, it can even mean a direct cash refund from the government. The credit is calculated based on eligible expenses, and the big one is the wages of the people doing all that innovative work. So how has this been done in the past? Well, in a word, painfully. It's a massive administrative headache. First, you have to gather just mountains of data. Then come the endless interviews with your engineers, pulling them away from their actual jobs. Then you've got to write these super detailed technical reports for every single project. It is a slow, manual grind that, frankly, nobody has time for. It's no wonder so much money just gets left on the table. But what if you could automate that entire painful process? This is where modern technology, specifically AI, steps in and creates a much, much better way to do things. The solution is intelligent, game-changing automation. It completely transforms this workflow from a reactive, end-of-the-year scramble into a proactive, continuous process that just runs in the background. So here's how AI totally flips the script. Instead of that slow, manual review, AI automatically screens thousands of your projects. Instead of relying on fuzzy memories from months ago, it collects the data in real time as the work is happening. And what that means is, by the end of the year, all the documentation is already built, it's verified, and it's ready to go. You get maximum compliance with minimal stress. It's a beautiful thing. So, what does all this really add up to in the end? Well, the results of switching over to an AI-powered approach, they're not just small improvements. They are truly transformative. So, what's the payoff? Well, first, let's talk about the bottom line. On average, companies find 20 to 30% more in credits. That's money that was always theirs to begin with. But it's also about time, your most valuable resource. We're talking about a 95% reduction in all that manual effort. You're freeing up your best people from doing paperwork so they can go back to innovating. And because of that, the whole process is 3 times faster, which means you get that cash back into your business that much sooner. And this isn't just some theory. This has been proven at scale. AI has already assessed over $2 billion in R&D projects, turning what was once a painful process into a powerful strategic advantage. And that really brings us to the most important takeaway here. This isn't just about getting a refund. It's about creating this incredible virtuous cycle where the money from this year's innovation becomes the fuel for next year's breakthroughs. So the final question really isn't if you're doing R&D. It's what incredible new project, what new feature, or what new technology are you going to fund when you finally unlock the capital that you've already earned?